Hi guys, so this is AP World History, Chapter 2, Section 4, the final chapter, or I'm sorry, the final section of Mesopotamia. And this is all about the Indo-European migrations, about where they came from, how they migrated, what their influence was, not only in Mesopotamia, but in Europe also, and what they contributed. So let's try to get this done in under 10 minutes. So the Indo-Europeans, the origin starts pretty much first with the languages we're going to look at. So the language of Europe, Southwest Asia, and India they're all similar, and that's because of the Indo-Europeans. The Indo-Europeans are these group of people that come from actually modern day Ukraine and South Russia in the region of the Black Sea and the Caspian. So kind of like this area right here is where they come from. And what ends up happening is that these people just spread all over the place. They spread into parts of Europe, they spread into Southwest Asia, they spread into India. And this is going to create a similar language because they're all from the same area. So the migration will lead to an evolution of different languages, but the basic grammatical structure is of Indo-European. And this is just a map that's showing you the different languages that formed, but they're still from the Indo-European language. And it kind of tells you that these are all the areas that they migrated into as well. So the Indo-Europeans, one of the big contributions that they made was that of horses, actually. The Indo-Europeans were able to domesticate horses in 4000 BC, and in the beginning, it was a food source. It's how they ate. And then afterwards, they would later domesticate them for riding. So this means that transportation is going to be faster and more efficient. But not only that, they're going to use those horses and they're going to attach them to carts and wagons and chariots. And this is going to create a militarily advantageous group of people. So it's going to create a stronger military essentially. And then this is just an example of how they would use the horses and attach the chariots to them so they could go into battle. So the nature of the Indo-Europeans is pretty much just that you need to know that they expanded from their homeland, and it's really because of a population explosion that was occurring in this area that led to them migrating, and this would continue till about 1000 CE. One of the more well-known Indo-European groups was the Hittites. They were Indo-European migrants, and they traded with the Babylonians and the Assyrians. So again, every group that we've talked about in this whole chapter, they're all alive around the same time. It's not like one came after the other after the other. They're all intermingling and intermixing. So the Hittites are no different. They will adapt the cuneiform to their language, and they will also accept Mesopotamian deities as well. So again, you see this idea of cultural diffusion happening. They will conquer Babylon and they will take control of Anatolia, which is modern day Turkey, northern Mesopotamia, and Syria, and Phoenicians. And this is probably because of their strong military. The Hittites had the war chariots. Um, these were two technological inventions, the light horse-drawn chariot and iron metallurgy. These two inventions that they're able to create are, again, what make them a strong military, and they're able to conquer other lands that maybe would not have normally been conquered had they not had that technology. On the wheels, they use lighter spoked wheels, so they probably would go faster. And the people who are on the chariots, they were elite forces in the army during this time. So they really knew how to, shoot a weapon, shoot a bow and arrow while moving. So this is a Hittite dagger sword made of about iron in 1100 BC. So much of it obviously has turned to rust over the past 3,000 years, but this is how it looked. Okay, so last section is going to be the Indo-European expansion and its effects. So you just need to know that they were able to spread iron everywhere. It was cheap and effective weapons in large quantities. So they were able to spread it into various areas. And iron production would diffuse into Eurasia, like I said. So it's going to diffuse all over Europe and into Asia. And the Hittites will improve on existing methods of creating iron. And then, of course, Indo-Europeans are going to migrate to the east into Central Asia, and they're also going to go south as well. So they would go pretty much everywhere, and you're going to hear them a lot throughout the rest of the chapters, Indo-Europeans. So you just need to know it's this group of people that came from Russia, Ukraine, and they just spread out and migrated pretty much all over the Eurasian land and influenced the Eurasians through, their iron metallurgy, through their horse drawn chariots, through horses themselves. All right, so there's discussion question 10. Argue how Indo-Europeans could have possibly been the most successful group during this time in Southwest Asia. So obviously the main takeaway is the Indo-Europeans themselves and how they were able to spread everywhere and how they were able to influence the various lands through their migrations and through the technologies that they developed. Next week will be chapter 3, Egypt, and we'll see you then.